Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Granja. This was sent to me by Stronghold Games and is designed by Andreas Odendahl and Michael Keller. In Granja, 1 to 4 players control small but expanding farms on the island of Majorca, Spain. Players develop their farms and deliver their goods to the village as they vie to create the greatest estate of all. Granja is a fascinating game that requires careful planning. Let me show you how to play. So the goal of Granja is over the course of 6 game rounds, you'll expand your farm and deliver goods to the village of Esporals, I guess, earning them victory points. Players have 2 options to earn victory points in the village. When a player has fully supplied a craft building, he receives victory points and a craft marker, that's these buildings around here, which grants a bonus for the remainder of the game. Or if a player has fully supplied a market barrow on his farm, he will receive victory points and a trade commodity. Now there are 4 phases each round: farm, revenue, transportation, and scoring. And this is a very flexible game. Most of the time you can do various actions in the orders of your choosing. You can usually do these at any time, and we'll kind of go through these. Before we go into those anytime actions though, let's go through the general flow of the game. At the beginning, each player may play 1 farm card and draw cards. So at the start of the game, you have these farm cards, and these can be played in different ways. Depending on how you play them, you might get different upgrades or abilities. In the first round, you get 2 cards, but regardless, this is your farm. If you place a card to the left, it becomes a field. In this case, we have a grape field here. If you place it in one of the top 3 slots here, it becomes a market barrow. These are the goods you need to fill the order, and this is the reward you'll receive. If you put a card on the right, that's a farm extension. These either give you more income, or they can increase your hand limit, or other things. And finally, you can play a card as an ability. So if I slide this card underneath here, I have the Vintner ability. I can move grapes from my fields to any harvest good items. So there are 4 different ways to play cards, and you can do 1 per round. Playing it as a field, an ability, or a barrow is always free. However, if you want to do a farm extension, you have to pay a 1 farm good for the first one, 2 for the next, and 3, and so on. So those are how you play cards. This chart here details how you pay for extensions. Each extension also has to be paid with unique farm goods. They can't be the same good. Once you've played your card, you can draw up to your hand limit. In this case, this player would have 4. Normally it's 3. After each player plays a card, then you get income. At the start of the game, you won't have any, but something like this will give you 1 silver on income. Also, these craft markers here will give you income later if you earn them. But yeah, you would get income, and then you receive goods on your fields and offspring for your pigs. You mark goods by placing them on, so I would get 1 grape here. If I had a pig extension, like this, and I had 2 pigs, I would get another pig, if I have the room for it. Then each player has the option to buy a roof marker. Roof markers are over here, and they give you special one-time bonuses if you use them. The cost is indicated on the top. In this case, first round, they each cost 1 silver. If you buy a roof marker, you put it over on your farm's roof like so. You can only buy 5 of these during the game, once per round. Each one of these spaces you fill, you get those victory points shown. If you use a roof marker ability, which you can use at any time, you flip it over. In this case, this would give you a free pig. So that's the farm phase. Now let's go back to those anytime actions you can do. The first thing you can do is use a trade commodity. During the game, you'll earn these boxes. They're called trade commodities. And you can exchange these at any time to get either 4 silver or 2 different harvest goods, or you can get a pig, or you can draw a card or play a card. Or you can upgrade 2 of your goods free of charge. You can also buy and sell your resources at any time. So, for example, these are where you keep olives or grapes or whatever this is, wheat. So if I had an olive in here and I decided to sell it, I would get 1 coin. You can also buy these at any time. If I have 3 silver and I need an olive, I can spend 3 silver and put an olive in here. The only exception is upgraded goods. Upgraded goods cannot be directly bought or sold. However, goods can be upgraded. So let's say I had a grape here and I spent 3 silver, I could upgrade that grape into a wine. Harvest goods, the ones you grow on your fields here, these never get moved to a field, between a field and a den. They stay here until they are either upgraded, or if you use them as payment for a farm extension, or if you use them as part of a delivery. Buying and selling and upgrading resources, using your commodities, you can do those at any time, basically. Let's go back to the phases. So after everyone has gone through the farm phase, then you do the revenue phase. You take the dice and you roll them out. In a 4-player game, there are 9 of them. Then you sort them next to their appropriate revenue spaces. In turn order, each player will choose a dice and do the action corresponding to it. In a 4-player game, you do this twice each, and eventually there will be 1 dice left. That dice that is remaining, that means everyone gets to do that action in turn order. Let's go through the actions. The first one is simple. Just grab a pig. You get a pig into your sty. This one, you can either play a card or draw a card or take one of these harvest goods. Number 3 lets you take 2 different harvest goods. Number 4, you get 4 silver. Number 5 lets you upgrade 2 resources free of charge, upgrade 1 resource free of charge, and advance on the siesta track, which is over here, we'll get into that later, or advance twice on the siesta track. And finally, this one, you can either carry out a delivery or take 2 silver. We'll go into deliveries in a second. But yeah, each time you take a dice, you perform whatever action corresponds to that dice. Next is the transportation phase. In this phase, each player chooses one of their donkey markers. You have 4 donkey markers, and they have different totals of donkeys and siesta hats. At the beginning, you can choose any of them, but if you choose one in a round, the next 2 rounds, you cannot choose that token again. In round 4, they all reset. Once each player has chosen a donkey marker, they all reveal them, and bam. So, depending on how many donkeys you have, that's how many deliveries you can do. And depending on how many siesta symbols you have, that's how far you advance on the siesta track. So first, you count how many siesta hats are on the donkey markers for each player. Then you advance them along this siesta track in turn order. So let's say yellow did 1, green did 2, and blue did 1. This is now the new turn order for the rest of the round. Then each player can do as many deliveries as they have donkeys. And that's where we look at the craft buildings. Each of these craft buildings is looking for different types of goods. This one needs pigs, this one needs upgraded goods, this one needs all the regular goods plus a silver. This one's looking for trade commodities. These are 2 of each regular good, and this is looking for silver. So the carry out a deliver, let's say I'm gonna do deliver to the pig area. If I have 3 donkeys, I can deliver 3 times. So if I have 3 pigs, I can mark each one of these. You can also, if you want, do multiple buildings. I could do 1 pig here, and if I had a wine here, I could, trade to this building here, and maybe if I have a silver, I can put 1 here. It's your choice, however you want to split it up. If you fill out an entire row of a craft building, you get a reward. So let's say I delivered 3 pigs here. First, I transfer one of my markers to this little space here. I also get the victory point if I did it first. Whenever you complete a building, you get a reward. These are called craft markers and give you different bonuses. Let's go through them. This one I just earned is the Butcher. This gives you an additional victory point whenever you score a market barrow. When the marker is taken, you take victory points equal to the number of barrows at your farm. And then you would place this on your board to mark that you have this ability. The village store gives you 2 victory points each time you do get a craft marker in future rounds. And you get 2 points as soon as you grab it the first time. The merchant house gives you 3 silver and also gives you 3 additional silver every income phase. The green grocer lets you take any 1 resource in step 3 of the farm phase, and you also get 1 immediately. So this starts giving you extra goods. The deli, you get a free trade commodity in step 3 of the farm phase, and you get 1 immediately upon receiving it. The Wainwright gives you victory points equal to your location on the victory point track, and you get to do a free delivery. And what it does in future rounds is during step 3 of the transportation phase, you get an extra step on the siesta track and an extra delivery. When a player is the first to fully supply an unblocked craft building, then you start removing these markers with X's. This was the first one. This gets removed now. This building is available. Whoever unlocks the building gets a victory point. Building marker number 2 gets unlocked if a second craft building is fully supplied, and likewise this one is emptied when a third craft building is fully supplied. So these will slowly unlock. These are randomly determined at the beginning of the game and will slowly unlock as you fill the rows of craft buildings. Now, that's one way to do a delivery. Another delivery you can do is the market barrows. I mentioned these before. The symbols on the market barrows determine what they need. So this one needs 2 pigs and meat. So if I have those supplies and I put them on there as a delivery, in this case I would need 3 separate deliveries to boop, 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 fill it. If I do it, I get a trade commodity, which I can mark here, and I also get to place a marker in the market area. So if I fill this one completely with the right goods, I get a commodity and I can put a marker on a 5 space. You also receive 5 victory points for doing this. Now, if I place a token down, let's say I put one here, this number is higher than this number, this opponent's marker gets removed. And the blue player would receive 1 victory point for each marker he removed. Finally, after all of that, then each player has the option to purchase extra deliveries at a cost of 1 silver per delivery. If you want to deliver more goods, you can spend the silver to do so. Then after that, it's the scoring phase. Each player gets 1 point for each of their markers in the market. You do not get points for ones in the craft buildings. Then you get points depending on how far you are on the siesta track. The green player is at the 1 mark, so he gets 1 victory point. The siesta markers are then stacked in that order because that's still the current turn order. And then you reveal the roof markers for the next round. Once you play through 6 rounds, at the end of the game, you'll exchange goods based on a conversion chart into silver and exchange silver into victory points at a rate of 5 to 1. Most points is the winner. If there is a tie, whoever has the most silver remaining among the tied players is the winner. And that's the game. You draft your dice, do actions, try to grow, get goods and upgrades, and fill out orders and supply craft buildings and get points. Just to show you a couple of examples of some of the other abilities you can get. There's the marketer. When you use a die to advance on the siesta track, to draw a card or to play a card, you may make 1 free delivery to a market barrow. The joiner, you may pay for roof markers with upgraded goods. These give you silver depending on what you use them. Fodder maid, spend 1 grain from one of your fields to make a pig. Again, pretty useful. And yeah, this is just a big old farming game, and make those deliveries, get those points. And that's the game. So I've played a lot of board games in my time, and I think this game is very good, but I will admit the first time I played it, it was actually a little hard for me to grasp at first. Mainly because there are so many paths to points, and there's a lot of flexibility in what you can do, especially with the anytime actions of, okay, I can buy this, sell this, get this, I can use this to do this. There's a lot of that simultaneous management of resources, exchanging the trade commodities, harvesting, making sure you have enough stuff to do this or that. So in the beginning, it can be a little overwhelming. I really like that the cards can be used in different ways, whether they're for fields or for extensions or abilities or, you know, the barrows. I like that. I think it's clever how they're slotted in differently depending on how you use them. Turn order is extremely important in this game, and I like that you're always being forced to choose between certain benefits, like, ooh, do I want to have first choice next round and go on the siesta track, or do I want to take that rare dice and make sure, because there's only one of them, so I can take that precious action, or, oh, I got to do these deliveries, I got to make sure I have enough, you know, donkeys for the round. It's very interesting what choices you have to decide. La Granja is overall very satisfying to play. You're constantly earning rewards. Like, oh, you trade this and you get this stuff and you get this perk. You know, sometimes they're one-time use like the roof tiles, or sometimes they're continuous like the craft markers. But you're always earning things and trying to use them as efficiently as possible to generate points and get more stuff. The market mechanic, where you can knock out other people's markers by playing higher numbers, is really mean, which I like, and it makes that turn order that much more important. Overall, this is a very solid resource management farming game with lots of decisions to make, and you get rewarded for your efficiency. If you like those type of games, which I do, this one is a little dense, but it is rewarding once you've figured it out and get into the flow of it. It's a lot of fun.